With the rise of the Web 2.0, it's never been easier to share our information within the endless Internet of Things. But where do we draw the line between technology advancing our everyday lives and dictating it? Over the past 5 years, the Internet has given birth to a host of social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, the list is endless. As media consumers, we are not only spoilt for choice of where to share our information, but what and just how often that information is broadcast. With increased technology use, we have become undeniably more focused on the self. From status updates, check-ins, vlogging to the infamous selfie, media users now rely on the internet not only for information, but for social gratification of our appearance and personal lives. This change bodes the question: is technology, especially social media, making us more narcissistic? And if we are becoming a more self-obsessed society, is this a good or bad thing? This video will explore the issue of narcissism and technology by examining how our value of the self has changed over time and the narcissistic psychology behind social media. It will compare the baby boomer, X and Y generations to see if today's youth are in fact more self-absorbed and whether this is a result of digital narcissism or merely a side effect of technological determinism. In 2013, the Oxford Dictionary defined a selfie as a photograph that one has taken of oneself, typically with a smartphone or webcam, and uploaded to a social media website. The first selfie was taken in 2002 by Nathan Hope, yet the concept of a self-portrait has been around since 1839, when photographer Robert Cornelius first snapped his own photo. Today, selfie culture has infiltrated everything from celebrities, politicians, pop culture, to the infamous selfie stick. The question is, why are today's selfies seen as attention-seeking rather than an art form? Take, for example, 16th century portraits. If Leonardo da Vinci's Mona Lisa was posted on Facebook as a selfie, would it still be regarded as one of the greatest artworks in history? Probably not. So when and how exactly did self-portraits become a taboo in the public sphere? In 2014, over 17 million selfies were uploaded to social media each week. 36% of people admitted to altering their images with Facetune, and selfies formed more than 30% of all photos taken by people aged 18 to 24. With their quantity alone, it's unlikely that the selfie will ever be seen as a true art form, at least until it gets a better name. But what the selfie-obsessed don't realise is how their quest for likes actually shows how technology has psychologically wired us to value the physical. Apps like Tinder, Snapchat and Instagram not only pressure us to look perfect, but to value the online approval of our retouched selves over real-life relationships. The result? A digital narcissist. Digital narcissism, also known as exhibitionism or value of superficiality online, is a phenomenon that brings the traits of narcissistic personality disorder into the age of social media. Apps like Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube now allow us to present a public identity statement which correlates to how we see our own selves. The problem is that social media has made the distinction between our now self and possible self as easy as editing an image or creating a false identity to feed our digital egos. Scientific studies have shown that people who update their status, post edited selfies, or check in more often are more likely to have a narcissistic personality. Narcissism online, however, has two sides. While some users become addicted to social media to inflate their already grandiose sense of self, studies show that others display narcissistic habits to hide a low self-esteem and insecurities or to escape their real identity. The key indicators of a narcissistic personality disorder include fantasizing one's perfection, sensitivity to personal criticism, an extremely critical view of others, and a competitive nature. Editing apps and celebrity culture have driven us to become even more narcissistic online. We are conditioned with a psychology of low self-worth and superficial popularity, which is spurred by endless likes, swipes, comments, and views. While some may argue that the selfie is a form of self-exploration rather than a cry for attention, research has also shown that narcissistic users of Facebook are more likely to become socially disruptive if they are negatively criticized online. But does a high media saturation directly correlate to our level of narcissism? And if so, does this mean Generation Y are the biggest perpetrators of digital exhibitionism and self-entitlement? To answer, a phone study was carried out in 2010 to correlate social media use and narcissism across the baby boomers, Generation X, and Net Generation Y. The study included 596 social media users from the ages of 18 to 69. Using the Narcissistic Personality Inventory of questions under authority and superiority, exhibitionism, exploitativeness, and vanity, researchers gauged what gratifications each group sought for their social media use. 40% of Net Generation participants use social media the most for social affection needs, compared to 30% of Generation X and 25% of baby boomers. 24% of Net interviewees also use social media for public recognition, opposed to less than 10% of participants over 25. An online survey was also conducted in 2010 on the millennial generation, which included 374 undergraduates aged between 18 to 33. The survey used an NPI of 40 statements where participants would pick the more or less narcissistic option in relation to their sense of self and social media use. Researchers quantified the number of Facebook statuses, friends, and pictures each user posted, as well as how their profile pictures were selected and edited to gain maximum social admiration. The results found links between narcissism and a user's number of friends, frequency of status updates, and uploading of attractive selfies to get likes. Those with more Facebook friends were more likely to untag or delete bad photos of themselves and favoured online friends more than face-to-face social relationships. Based on this psychological and statistical evidence, we can conclude that Generation Y are in fact the most narcissistic online. But is this trend a direct result of technology or society itself? Regardless of media saturation, our own level of narcissistic tendency is dictated by psychology. Those with a low self-esteem or emotional attachment issues are more likely to use social media as an escape from reality, be it through attention-seeking content or creating a fake identity. But how then do we explain the YouTuber phenomenon, where young vloggers are literally paid to talk about themselves to an online audience of millions? Is this encouraging us to be more narcissistic, or simply a result of technological determinism? First coined by Thornstein Veblen, this Marxist theory states that technology itself dictates the actions and values of our society. When applied to the internet, Generation Y have become more narcissistic as a direct result of this technological change. But at the same time, we are also facing more social pressure to adopt a narcissistic personality online. In essence, digital narcissism is a side effect of technological determinism, and societal change is a side effect of technology itself. Therefore, social media is not destroying our real-life relationships, but merely adapting them to meet these societal and technological changes. Our narcissistic behaviour online will always be determined by our own psychological variables, but with the rise of social technology, Generation Y especially are now blurring the lines between the self and the selfie obsessed.